So it happened again, and this time it was somehow worse for all the wrong, surprising reasons. So I've been gone for, I feel like majority of the month at this point, which sucks. I didn't plan to be gone for this long. Long story short, my mother ended up in a hospital yet again, and somehow this time everything was just 10 times worse for what seemingly no reason. I mean, there are reasons, but to explain them and to talk about them is just mind boggles me to this day. In the beginning of this month, I had what I thought was an eye infection on the right eye, and it was really bad, really painful. I got it checked out. Turns out it was either an eye strain or an infection. I got some medicine for it, and basically I was on self-leave waiting for the eye to heal up. Right as my eye was healing up, the worst that could have happened had happened. My mother had to go to a hospital yet again. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the kidneys again, or diabetes, or maybe something worse, so it was a bit panicky for sure. If you have a loved one that is sick, like family member, family pet, a loved one, what have you, you're gonna worry. And yeah, having a third episode of the hospital arc was extremely stressful to think about. This time around, there was a bit of a twist, and there's a bit of a setup for it. My brother and I are not on good standings because he is very self-absorbed, he thinks about himself, and whenever there was a previous moment happening with our mother getting to the hospital because she was sick or ill with something, he basically was missing, MIA, and he didn't contribute anything, didn't help out anything, so it was just me on my own, making sure that my mother is alive, basically. My brother volunteered to be with my mother at the hospital, making sure she is okay, which to me was a bit surprising. It's not that I unwelcome help or anything. I mean, the fact that my own brother decided to actually be there for our mother and be able to assist her in some way, it's a good thing, I thought. But before I continue, I need to give a little bit of a backstory about some things that happened before in the past. Not too much into detail, just for the context. I promise you, it's gonna matter for the finish of the story. So during the other hospital arc, there was a bit of, you could say, background drama with my brother and I. Mainly because he thought that my mother calling ER for herself, since it was indeed a medical emergency, and going to the hospital was too costly. And in fact, he had a conversation with me where he basically, almost like in a Call of Duty or old school Xbox lobby, started trash talking our own mother to me. I don't know if he maybe thought that I would agree with him or banter with him. I don't understand what his thought process was when I heard him bad-mouthing our mother over her medical emergency and her being sick and not be able to control that and needing to go to the hospital to get this stuff resolved. I'll be honest, I got mad. To paraphrase what I said, since I don't remember 100% what I said, I remember saying something along the lines of that he is terrible, that he is awful, that he is selfish, and basically he's a waste of oxygen. Because to me, the biggest thing that kind of made me mad is that instead of helping his sickly mother, he is instead spending time telling me, of all people, that apparently she's this bad and that bad, and oh, she's so dumb for calling the hospital. But I mean, it's an emergency. What is she supposed to do? Drive herself to the hospital while suffering from sepsis? When she can't even walk around properly herself because she's in a lot of pain? So to me, it seemed that he was being extremely insensitive, extremely rude, and instead wasting his time trash talking his own mother to me like it's literally some sort of like a Xbox Call of Duty lobby. And you just bad-mouthing like a friend or something, or somebody you play Call of Duty with. It just seemed asinine to me on how can somebody do something like that. And yeah, I got rightfully mad. I don't support saying mean things to people, especially that deserve it, right? I used to be extremely angry before, very young in the past, but I feel like I've matured a lot and I just don't see rhyme or reason to have an argument with somebody that is not gonna listen. Maybe I wasted my breath lashing out at him, but I did lash out at him. So that's something important to know for this story. So with my mother in hospital and supposedly my brother there to make sure that she's okay and be able to help her out, I thought that maybe I could relax a little bit knowing that she's been taken care of. But I started getting a really, really bad feeling just somewhere in the back of my head that something's wrong and I should stay up. This was like in the middle of the night, by the way. This was like right around the time, like midnight, 1 in the morning kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to this instinct and stay up for a little bit. And I kept myself busy. 2 in the morning. Nothing happens, no phone call, no text. 3 in the morning, nothing happens, no phone call, no text. 4 in the morning, I get a phone call. It is my mother telling me that she was stranded and abandoned by my brother at the hospital and she's all alone by herself there. My brother abandoned our mother and stranded her at a hospital emergency room by herself without anybody there for her. And she didn't know if she was supposed to be staying there, she could be released in the night, she didn't know what was going on. Hearing her cry on the phone made me realize that maybe this is the weird sensation that I was getting that told me to stay up. Maybe this was like the universe telling me, don't go to bed yet, be on ready. And I'm glad I was on already because I immediately got my car, drove over to the hospital, and made sure I was there with her. The entire time I'm there consoling her, making sure she's not thinking about the horrible monster of a son that just abandoned her there, but instead focusing on getting her attention on something else while we wait for the doctors. And I think it was around 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning when finally somebody came in and said, yeah, you're gonna have to stay here for a bit because kidney infection and stuff like that. After everything was settled at the hospital, I finally got to talk to my mother a little bit, and she eventually decided to bring up my brother again as part of the conversation. She told me that basically my brother yelled at my mother right before he left, blaming her for things such as, it is your fault that he was at the hospital with her, it is her fault that she's gonna have to spend so much money on the hospital bills, and also it is her fault that I was harsh to him back in spring whenever he was trash talking to me and bad-mouthing our own mother to me. Back in spring. This is an event that happened back in early spring, back when the first whole hospital arc was even happening. I think it was like back in early spring. I don't remember, but it was like way back in a couple of months since now when this whole thing was happening. That's when the whole event of my brother and I even interacting happened. That was the last time he and I ever talked. So I'm guessing my brother stranded and abandoned my mother at a hospital because, what, revenge? A petty revenge? Or is like a payback for me disagreeing with him, saying horrible things about our own mother? That sounds absolutely deranged and insane and complete lunacy. But on the other hand, knowing my own brother and how vindictive and self-centered he can be, he probably got his feelings hurt that I didn't agree with him that our mother was being dumb and stupid. And what's the other word he used? Oh yeah, retarded, for using the medical emergencies to help her in her time of need. That's why I gave the context in the beginning for a reason, because this sounds deranged, this sounds insane, this sounds so asinine. After blaming my mother for everything else that has nothing to do with it. I don't know what's going on with him. I have no idea what's going on with him. He might be having some sort of issues IRL or some sort of other personal issues or troubles going on. I don't know. But the last thing you'd want to do, I would reckon, is blame your very own sickly mother for things that have nothing to do with her. It's not her fault that she is in a medical emergency. It's not her fault that her kidneys are acting up or she has diabetes. Like, medical emergencies happen. Things happen. When my eye was infected, it wasn't necessarily my fault. My eye just had a weird reaction to something. I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. And that's what's so baffling about it. It's like she didn't do anything wrong. I don't think she did anything demonstrably wrong at all. Medical emergencies happen to people, and sometimes it's very unfortunate. And for him just to abandon his sickly mother, we have the same mother, our sickly mother at a hospital, all alone, stranded by herself, that's terrible. That's what a monster does. Because she's there by herself, not sure what's going on, unsure what to do, all alone. We don't have any other family in the States here, in America, right? The only family that I have here is my mother and my brother. And that's it. The rest of that family is in Russia, dealing with the war and running away from Russia even to other countries like Turkey or whatever. So that's bringing us back to here. I've been dealing with all this and making sure that my mother is okay and recovering well. And during this whole thing, I kind of developed a I don't know, a bit of my own disorders. Other than just stress and anxiety, I've been having this thing where basically every time I go to bed, I would always wake up at 4 in the morning, not even like gently, but being like jolted out of bed. Just jolted out of bed like an electric shock hits me. And at that point, I can't go back to sleep. And then because of that, every single day I get more and more tired and more exhausted, and I just haven't been able to live and be myself. And because of lack of sleep, I've not been feeling well physically at all. I've been feeling awful every single day. I don't want to make these sort of videos. I don't want to make these sort of videos where I'm just coming in here saying, hey guys, sorry I was gone, medical emergency, everything sucks, I'm hanging in as best as I can. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to make lewd videos where I'm just running around with my friends, having fun, having a good time, and just saying some dumb, cringy jokes as I usually would. But because of all the stress, it just got to me really badly, and I just couldn't function normally. I couldn't sleep normally for so long. I'm finally able to sleep properly now, and I'm happy. I'm satisfied with the progress that I made, but man, this sucked. Pretend my mental state is like a set of balls, right? Set of testicles, and somebody just kicked it as hard as they can. I'm not asking you to feel pity for myself. This is just me using my own platform just to let it out. These feelings that I've had for so long just kind of bottled up and festered into this negative headspace. Have just been festering for so long, just need to scream out into the void. I don't expect life to be fair. I mean, obviously life is unfair, sure. But I mean, man, I would love it if life would just pull punches a little bit. I want to end this on a semi-positive note, saying that I'm back to streaming as of today. At 6 p.m. EST tonight, I'm gonna be live over on Twitch. Stand by, hang out with me. Maybe we'll play some games, maybe we'll just rant, I'm not fully sure. I just want to hang out. 6 p.m. EST on twitch.tv/Thamriyell. I'll see you guys there, and we'll have a little chit chat and hang out. From now on, I'm setting my sights on mental state to look forward to more fun things and more loots together. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.